I want to follow up here. Ms. Lago, what about, you said you, quote, hold people accountable, end quote. How long have you been in your current position?
Since August of 2011.
And how many people since that time have been fired?
In the last year, 200 people were fired. The year before that, 115.
And how many for sexual harassment?
In the last 3 years,
Whatever
70
time frame.
people. 70 people have been disciplined for sexual misconduct. 30 have been fired or removed.
Would that, when you say or removed, when you say removed, does that include those that would just retire or quit?
Retire or resign, yes.
So
7 were...
Following up with us, I don't expect you to memorize all this off the top of your head. I need you to detail that for us with specificity. Don't break it into, you can't say fired or just retired. I want to see the difference between the two. Because the concern is that you don't actually fire somebody. They get their full benefits. They get everything else. Now, this person in Ms. Rice's case, why was he hired to come in and provide a motivational speech?
So I was very disturbed to learn that as well. I found out about that last week. What I understand is he encountered the existing hotshot superintendent at an off-forest event for retirees or a going-away party or something like that. The current superintendent invited him to a gathering. It's not clear that that superintendent knew the history. I'm not sure. When the forest supervisor found out after the event where Mr. Beckett appeared, he sat down all of his staff and said, we can't ever have this guy anywhere at any of our functions.
And that's one of the consequences of not having a disciplinary action, right? Just allowing him, patting him on the back, saying, you know, good job. How much did you pay him? How much did the taxpayers pay this guy?
He wasn't paid to appear there.
Still, the motivational speech, he just did it out of the goodness of his heart? It was just free?
That's correct.
There's no paid compensation?
Yes, sir, no pay.
Ms. Rice, can you shine and illuminate any, based on what you just said, what's your perspective of this?
The superintendent did know Beckett, knew him, worked for him for many years, knew of the incident.
Give me some more details of this. He worked for him and he knew of the incident. Why would he have known of the incident?
Because the entire forest knew. They had a all-hands meeting with all the people from fire. He was one of the attendees.
The one that was detailed in the article that Ms. Lago says she never read? That article?
The current superintendent for the hotshots used to work for Beckett and was there when I was being harassed. He was there, and then he was also there during the investigations. He was very aware of what happened to me.
Ms. Lago, do you dispute what Ms. Rice is saying?
No, I don't.
So what are you doing about it?
So what we're doing is the forest supervisor instructed his staff never to let that happen again.
Is he going to get a bonus?
He whom?
The person who brought in the person who had committed this atrocity against Ms. Rice. There's somebody who had to actually approve this and set it up, right? That person, what are you going to do? What's the repercussion to him or her? Who is that person?
I'll undertake a misconduct investigation on the actions of that person.
And you'll get back to us on what
Yes.
the ramifications are?
Yes, I will.
Explain to me why it takes so long to go through these harassment issues. 4 years, was the average time that it took? And that's been improved to 18 months?
That's the program. That's the program. If it was a farm complaint, that would be the farm side, the program side.
I'd like to learn more about this. My time is very short. I want to go, this is, We have had a lot of interaction with Carolyn Lerner. She is the Office of the Special Counsel. She issued this report on a letter to the President on May 18th of 2015. Ms. Lago and Mr. Leonard, I'd like you to respond to that. Do you dispute anything in her findings?
I do.
And what do you dispute in her findings?
For the Office of Special Counsel, as you know, has so much power. It could have had an order of relief, demanding my office take action right away. It could have even had a recommendation, but it had exactly what it said. It said, make them whole. It didn't provide the direction. When I provided the information to
Okay, well, let me...
when I provided the information yesterday, here, the majority of, and it's important to say alleged discrimination here and there, the alleged, the information, when people, I do this all the time.
That's not what it says, sir. It's not what it says.
It doesn't have an order
I'll
of
read
relief.
it to you. I'll read it to you. I'll read it to you, okay? The proposed corrective actions do not provide sufficient redress for affected individuals. It doesn't say anything in that sentence about alleged or anything else. Let me read the paragraph right before it, because it's section 4, and with the indulgence of the committee here, I'm going to just read this. I have reviewed the original disclosure, the agency reports, the whistleblower comments. I have determined that the reports contain all the information required by statute. However, the agency's findings are partially unreasonable. As the whistleblowers noted, the Office of the one that you oversee, is tasked with protecting civil rights of all USDA employees. As such, this office should set the standard not only for processing claims, but also for creating an environment free of discrimination. Rather than leading this effort, the report confirms that your office, Mr. Leonard, has had an unusual high number of complaints filed against its own leadership. In addition, almost half of these complaints were not acted on in a timely manner. And even when they were addressed within the legally mandated period, they were processed in a manner that violated agency regulations. While the report did not reveal any intentional wrongdoing, it demonstrated that OASCR has been seriously mismanaged, therefore compromising the civil rights of the USDA employees. Given the seriousness of these concerns, the corrective actions appear to only partially resolve the identified wrongdoing. While they adequately address the management and conduct of OASCR going forward, the proposed corrective actions do not provide sufficient redress for affected individuals. We also have the number of EEO complaints filed against USDA senior manager headquarters going from roughly 1 in 2011 to 24 in 2014. With 0 findings of discrimination. In fact, over 2011 to 2015, 42 complaints filed, 0 findings of discrimination.
Against senior management officials at USDA.
So going back to the special counsel's letter, detail for us where they're wrong.
But firstly, that's just not my office. That's all of USDA and 100,000 employees.
Understood, in the context of it. But
in my office, it was 12 for a 5-year period, and we have 140 employees.
That's 13. A lot. That's a lot. 10%?
The majority of complaints that are on senior leaders in my staff are chain of command complaints.
You don't think that's a lot, sir?
The majority of the complaints are chain of command and complaints, so they're coming 6 down. So if you don't get a QSI and you want your QSI, you'll put it on the person on top of you, the other one. I'm 5 people removed, but I'm still in that number.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to explain the numbers to you.
We have an independent person, the Office of Special Counsel, who sends just a handful of letters to the President, and she sends one and comes to the finding. I want you to explain to us why you think she's wrong.
She came with the finding?
Yes, I just read it to you.
In my world, there's a finding or a non-finding. A finding would have an order of relief attached to it. I mean, in order. If there's a finding on the Forest Service, I'm ordering them to put civil rights placards up. I'm ordering people to go to civil rights trainings. I'm ordering
I'm asking you
removal.
what-
I'm ordering, there is.
I'm trying to lessen my time here. I'm trying to ask you, in this multi-page letter, where you think she's wrong. Tell me what you dispute.
I will tell you this. Our Office of Inspector General did the investigation of that. And there are going to be a few people who will come to you and say, I agree 100% with the Office of Inspector General report.
I'm not
I
talking
agree with it, but the report, the OSC
Mr.
report
Leonard,
was
Mr.
taken
Leonard,
from
you're not
the OIG
getting, Mr. Leonard,
investigation.
Mr. Leonard, stop. You're not-
The OSC
Stop.
report.
Mr. Leonard, I want you to stop. I'm not talking about the Inspector General. I'm talking about the Office of Special Counsel, who sent a letter to the President of the United States. That is not a common occurrence. It happened more than a year ago. I'm asking you, giving you the opportunity for you to tell me where you think she's wrong.
I agree with the Inspector General report that did the investigation. I have concerns with the interpretation of said report.
Okay, we'll revisit this. I've gone way past my time. I believe it's Mr. Heiss of Georgia, who now recognized for 5 minutes.